Welcome to the Soul Health Mentor podcast with Nadia Kraus. Learn how to move your awareness out of your mind and into your heart so you can embody your divinity, experience joyous peace of mind, and create your most vibrant life by opening to receive your soul's sacred medicine.
Hello, brilliant heart. Welcome back to the Soul Health Mentor podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the art to share from Overflow. It's Nadia here, your host, author of From Dreaming to Done, and founder of Soul Health Mentor and Company. Today's episode feels tender and it feels powerfully luminous. It was born on a day that holds deep meaning in my heart, the 5th anniversary of my mother's passing. I didn't plan the topic. I didn't plan the timing. Life did. And that's how I know this conversation was meant to be, and it's going to be really meaningful. I have a lot to say, and I hope I can say it in a way that you can really receive it. That is my intention for this episode. Because this episode isn't about grief. It's about grace. It's about what happens when the body finally becomes safe enough to hold both heaven and earth, the lineage behind you and the light ahead of you in one sacred breath. My first business in Germany in the year 2000 was a brick and mortar business, a group fitness studio called Fitness for Body and Soul. And back then, I didn't know how to share from Overflow. I was running on depletion. It didn't happen overnight, but I did run on a different kind of operating system, one that led to my burnout 3 years later. Then, in the year 2014, I built an online space called happywholesomelife.com that is still online to hold an evolved version of the same desire, fitness for body and soul, this desire that I now call soul health. Have you ever wondered what it feels like when self-care is not born out of survival? I ask this question because my self-care practices were born out of survival. They were born out of a crash and burn pattern. And now I can say that self-care no longer feels like an obligation, but a sacred dialogue between me and my soul. So that's what this episode is about. I am creating an episode for you that will give you a visceral feeling of this. Here inside Soul Health Mentor Podcast and my webpage, happywholesomelife.com, self-care becomes soul care, not as another thing to do, but as a way of being. Here you are invited to remember how to care for your whole self, not in fragments, but in sacred wholeness. How to transform your lived experience not by forcing change, but by harmonizing your subtle bodies. Here you are invited to remember that your life is not just physical. It is a symphony of bodies, each whispering, starting with your physical body, the sacred vessel of your soul, followed by your emotional body, the tender river of your feelings, your mental body, the clarity and the architecture of your thoughts. Do they serve you? Your spirit, the breath of life beyond the visible, the intangible, and your light body, the radiant memory of who you truly are. The art to share from Overflow and creating somatic divinity is the bridge between heaven and earth, or I could also say that fitness for body and soul is about learning how to take care of yourself. So these words, somatic divinity, how did they come to me? So somatics is the word that describes everything that happens in your nervous system. And maybe you've heard of the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn patterns of survival. Those are the patterns that are necessary to survive. However, those are also the patterns that will deplete you. They will, how can I say this? They will exhaust your body. And often it is those survival patterns of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn that will show themselves in depletion when a woman hits the, I don't know how to say this, the initiation, the awakening, midlife. Right now, in our society, this is the time when women start talking about perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. And there is a lot of things that are happening symptom-wise in our body, and it can feel like chaos. However, this is when your body is talking to you via your nervous system, and that is something that is not explained. Just like fitness for body and soul is not explained. What does that mean? Our society knows what fitness means. It means work out, drink enough water, do strength training, um, do the things that help you lose weight, that help you make your body strong. But our society doesn't teach us what makes our soul strong, what makes our health strong from the perspective of soul. That's why I came up with the word soul health. So in my world, we talk about somatic divinity as the bridge between heaven and earth. And what it really is the evolution of my work that I started when I began my business, Fitness for Body and Soul. It was the same desire. It was the desire to learn how to nourish my physical health and happiness, how to cultivate my mental clarity and focus, how to honor my emotional balance and my deep feeling sensitive nature, how to awaken my spiritual heart and purpose, how to invite fiscal flow and soul-led prosperity, and how to embody my soul's unique health and dream. And this work here at Soul Health Mentor and Company is the invitation to realize this, to help you realize that this isn't just another program. It's not a fitness program, most definitely not. It is not a survival program. I don't offer you a quick fix. I offer you processes from dreaming to done so you can connect to your soul map and what you were born to be and do. This right here is the energy of a sacred homecoming to the full symphony of you. If your soul and your heart have been feeling the gentle pull, you're exactly where you're meant to be. And I'm here to tell you that embodiment is not about fixing the body. It's about remembering that the body was never broken. True integration of the body, mind, heart, spirit, and soul, and your purpose isn't about clearing or rewiring the body from a higher plane. So here I'm talking about the spiritual aspect, because either you get the very earthly aspect of the fitness world where it's all about the body and where I guess the furthest it goes is to mindset. So it's body and mindset, but it doesn't really speak about the emotional world or the spiritual world. And when we go to the world of emotional and spiritual, sometimes there is a spiritual bypassing happening that is forgetting that your spirituality actually lives in your body via your nervous system. And it's about learning to feel difficult feelings or situations in your life. It's about honoring that the body itself carries divine intelligence. And this spiritual perspective is something that I first heard about. The spiritual bypassing, I would say, is something that I first heard about from my dad. So my dad was discovering his spirituality when he was 50, and he was an older parent. And he talked to me about what he was discovering. I was 11. So he was talking about the spiritual world of ascension and 5D. Now, what is 5D? It's just fifth dimensional. And what does fifth dimensional mean? It means that you recognize that you have a body, a mind, emotions, a heart, and a soul, right? Heart, spirit, soul. It just recognizes that you are multidimensional. 3D means that you recognize you have a body, you recognize you have a mind, and you believe what you see. It's the proof is in the pudding and it needs to be material. So that's the difference between 5D and 3D. And the first time I heard about that was from my father. Unfortunately, my father didn't know how to feel difficult feelings, and he didn't know how to heal his wounding. He didn't know how to embody 5D consciousness, and ascension became an escape. But ascension really is rooting deeply into your body so you can rise, rooting into your nervous system, realizing where you are living fight, flight, freeze, or fawn as a pattern of survival, and rewiring this into rest and digest, into safety, security from a body-based reality. So healing became less about ascending to 5D, to this, I don't know, I can't even speak about it in the way my dad spoke about it anymore. It is about grounding heaven onto earth. It's not about escaping into a world that isn't realistic. It's about grounding my dreams into this reality. So healing has become more about allowing spirit to breathe through my 3D nervous system, my very earthly experience of my body, of my mind, and also of the reality, am I feeling safe in this material world? And it is really about allowing spirit to breathe through my cells. So I remember safety from a body. That's embodiment. That's where heaven meets earth inside my heartbeat. And it's now what I call somatic divinity. So that term came to me just like soul health came to me. It came to me through my own healing, through my own embodiment. Now I understand that being infused with soul and my body receiving light, it's not about escaping pain. It's about the art of metabolizing it. This way, pain becomes power and power becomes beauty. This is the thing, the situation, the ask that my dad couldn't understand. My dad at age 11, so when I was 11, when he was in his 50s, only knew to share about what he was reading. And he was reading about ascension. He was reading about a new spiritual age of humanity remembering their soul. He was reading about mindset and positive thinking. And he would have conversations with me about ascension and thinking the right way. So it was very mental. And for the longest time, I thought that thinking the right way would help me create my dreams. And it did help me until age 35. I had manifested a whole bunch of different dreams, a whole bunch of different things I wanted, I desired. What I found interesting, though, is that whenever I had manifested the dream and I had created the reality, it wasn't what I thought it would be. It wasn't giving me peace. It wasn't giving me fulfillment. It wasn't giving me nourishment. And it definitely didn't feel like I was sharing from Overflow. It was running a show of survival. It was running a show of proving myself, of performing my worth, and having to keep it together from the mind while my body was burning out, while my body was responding in depletion. So that changed when I discovered soul art. I'm now a certified soul art guide, and I've walked the pathway. So I'm speaking from experience here. I'm speaking from lived experience in my body. Soul art helped me root into my body. Soul art helped me feel difficult feelings, and soul art helped me integrate my mind, body, heart, and soul. October for me, October 2025, marked a quiet but powerful completion. I discovered soul art in 2017, and I went through a whole bunch of soul art journeys with the founder, Laura Hollick. 2022 was the time I realized that I wanted to become certified so I could guide other women in this process of rooting into the body, of unifying the field, of coming into wholeness. And by October 2025, I think I have been on 30 different soul art journeys. So there's been a lot of healing, a lot of embodiment. And I love that divine timing is always right on time, because October marked this powerful completion just before my official book launch, From Dreaming to Done, a soul map for finishing what you were born to do, in November. And why am I talking about completion? I'm talking about completion because the father wound found its peace, and the mother wound found its rest, and a new template of leadership is now anchored in my body. One that values truth over approval, coherence over chaos, and reciprocity over depletion. This has been a 14-year journey, so I'm able to share with you in one short episode what I've discovered over the last 14 years, and also since discovering soul art journeys. Soul art journeys help me anchor soul that meets structure, healing that meets business, and heaven that meets earth. I no longer confuse control with care. And why do I say that? We all have survival patterns, and our survival patterns are rooted in our childhood, and they are rooted in our relationships. Our family of origin teaches us how to act in relationship. And I was a chronic people pleaser, and I was chronically fawning. I was also chronically in fight or flight, freeze or fawn. Those were different systems running at different times. And I confused control with care. And that confusion led to my depletion. Now I no longer seek safety outside of myself. In October, there was a day I felt a visceral shift from survival to creation. That was the day I truly understood fitness for body and soul, not from a mental state, but from an embodied state that I now call somatic divinity. And that day was the day of my mother's passing. So it felt like a whole lineage was standing behind me, a whole mother line, and a father line too. And now having these two aspects, the mother archetype and the father archetype, living within me in a healed way, in an empowered way, in a beautiful way, in a powerful way, not a painful way. And with that, a new cycle begins, one where prosperity feels like peace and leadership feels like love in motion. This is what I mean when I say the art of sharing from overflow as a state of wholeness. For so long, I believed I needed to give until I was empty, to prove my purpose through effort. But true overflow isn't about how much we give. It's about where we give from. It's the moment when your energy no longer leaks through survival, but circulates through devotion, and circulates through devotion to yourself, devotion to your heart, to your soul, to your purpose. Not self-sacrifice, not self-abandonment, not overgiving. It's the knowing that you can be of service and in service without abandoning yourself, without abandoning your body, your needs. It's the knowing that your creativity can flow without draining your nervous system, that your light can shine without costing you your peace. Overflow is not abundance on top of depletion. It's coherence, the soul and the body finally breathing in rhythm. Beautiful soul, strong heart, and brilliant listener, I invite you to feel in your body the state of overflow as an arrival, a homecoming, a homecoming. Feel these words of a new reality in your body, even if at this time it might only feel like a possibility. Open your heart to receive it. Root into your body before you have proof. Feel these words. My struggle has ended. I am in harmony with myself. I am home in myself. I no longer chase belonging. I am belonging. I no longer search for purpose. I am purpose embodied. Every cell in my body remembers peace. Every breath anchors me deeper into the truth of who I have become. The nervous system that once fought for survival now flows with the rhythm of creation. My body is not tense, it is tuned. My heart is not guarded, it is open. My mind is not racing, it is resting in trust. I am the space between inhale and exhale, where heaven meets earth. The energy that moves through me now is not effort, it's elegance, not performance, presence, not grind, grace. I hold myself to a standard of grace, not perfection. I am rooted in the soil of my own safety. I rise from within. I rise from within the temple of my body. And in this arrival, I remember that peace is the most magnetic frequency of all. I'm not reaching anymore. I'm receiving. I'm not performing anymore. I am being. I am embodying. I am radiating. I am magnetizing. I have arrived. I have arrived in my body, in my truth, in the version of me that is whole, that is wise, that is wildly free. From this space, I create. From this peace, I prosper. From this arrival, I lead. I am home in myself. Feel that energy in your body. Feel that frequency as if you're tuning in to a frequency just like a radio station. You are tuning into the frequency of abundance, the frequency of sharing from your overflow, the frequency of somatic divinity, of letting go of survival patterns so that you can be anchored in safety, in security that comes from within. This is so important in the times we live in right now. It's becoming something of utmost importance because systems are falling apart. Our outside world is no longer holding that security. We need to root to rise. We need to learn to root before proof. My mother, in her own way, taught me both sides of this truth: how to give until you vanish, and how to rise again through your own tenderness. So today I dedicate this episode to her and to every woman learning that healing isn't leaving the body, it's coming home to it. Thank you, Mom, for showing me that love is the bridge between heaven and earth. Thank you, Dad, for showing me that I don't need to control things and I can be rooted in my own security and safety. So if you're listening today and something in you softened, if you felt your shoulders drop or your breath deepen, that's your own somatic divinity remembering itself. Let spirit breathe through your body until it feels safe to hold more light, because that's the art of sharing from overflow. I'm Nadia Shana Kraus, and this is the Soul Health Mentor Podcast. If this episode helped you drop from your head into your heart and from your mind into your body, visit soulhealthmentor.com and find this episode or any other episode. Upvote the ones that moved you and leave a comment about the dream you're ready to finish. Your voice is heard here. Completion is love. Finishing is freedom. This is the Soul Health Mentor way. I look forward to sharing the next Soul Health Mentor episode with you, which is going to be a meaningful conversation with Heather Coleman, financial wellness geek and author of the book that talks about money narratives and shares stories that we normally don't share. And I will continue this conversation of sharing from overflow with you in my next solo episode. Until then, take care of yourself. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Soul Health Mentor Podcast with Nadia Kraus. If you like what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and review at Apple Podcasts or wherever podcasts are playing.